All right, the LA Chargers finally getting good injury news just in time for the playoffs. If you're new to the channel, we are Detroit Lions fans, but this channel is all about the LA Chargers, so it kind of gives you an outsider's look into your team. So if you have not subscribed, if you've watched a few videos, please subscribe. And if it's the first time, watch the video, then decide. Then be like, you know what? I will subscribe to that. That wasn't too bad. So here we go. But let me know in the comments. When did you become a Chargers fan? Was it right from birth? Did you follow a player here? You know, I heard in the comments before that Justin Herbert coming to the team, you followed him, you were an Oregon fan or whatever, right? It's kind of like, how did you become a fan and when did that start for you? Some people, it's right from childhood. Some, it's like, you know what, maybe this is your first year where you're like, you know what, we're winning. Not only winning, but winning in a way that's like sustainable and we can do this for some years to come. So let me know in the comments. Okay. Here it is. Gilman is looking like he could be back for the playoffs. And what they've done is they've opened his 21-day window. And it does not guarantee that he'll play right away. But what it means is like, okay, if you activate somebody, it means we want to get them on the field, get them going. They've got 21 days to get onto the active roster, or they have to be on IR and their season's over. So they have started his 21-day practice window. Why this is so important is because they've been doing more snaps with Derwin James down in the box. So to get a safety back would be really important because safety's been a spot that's been injury plagued. When Molden went out, that left him, now his season, he was done there. Then they had to go Tony Jefferson, Marcus May, who's gotten hurt, Eddie Jackson. So what's really working with the defense is that you don't have your main guy down in the box in Derwin James. Instead, you've got other safeties. Well, if you can get a starting level safety back, now that really allows you to keep Derwin James where he's like that linebacker, nickel. He's in the backfield. I mean, that's really where he's playing so well. We'll get to more about Derwin James here in just a second. Some of the numbers on him this year just show some incredible stuff that's going on with him. So that's number one, is you've got an opportunity to get Gilman back. Number two is Denzel Perryman. We got to keep an eye on him as well. So he missed last week. Remember, he came back in week 16, tried it, missed 17. So it's going to be critical to see if Perryman's status in practice each day of the week. Also interesting to see if they rest starters against the Raiders, depending on what happens before kickoff. We'll get to that in just a second. But here's Perriman's close enough. So that means, what if he doesn't play this week, which he won't, just because, again, this game is not meaningless by any means. We'll get to that as well in just a second. But it's also just no need. So what if, for playoffs, you can have Gilman and Perryman come back on the defensive side? Because in general, so that's good news, because in general, the Chargers have avoided the major injury bug that can happen. And you know you're going to have injuries, but it's like, man, can we just avoid our major players going out for the season? You're okay with a 3-week injury, a 2-week injury, 4-week injury, but if you go out for the season, it really hurts you. So A, they've avoided that. B, they've got a couple key players possibly coming back. And again, I talked about Derwin James. Let's talk about him some more. There was a really good article put out about how basically your former coach, he was basically here for 3 seasons, and he just was terrible. And what happened was, and how do you know that he was terrible? Well, it's because certain players, specific players, Derwin James being number one, didn't have him in the right position. Defense always looked discombobulated, gave up big plays. It was just like, what are we doing? Then you get Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter come in. Derwin James is much different. So Brandon Staley broke Derwin James. Jesse Minter fixed him 100%. The biggest strength of James is his ability to move around the defense and play at the line of scrimmage. The weakest area of his game is traditional cover safety, especially deep zone. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out his main role shouldn't be as a too high safety. but that's how Staley primarily used him. When he was calling defense, he mostly played free safety. James' rookie season, he played 40% of the snaps in the box. It was truly diverse mix when he was playing. So all these numbers to say, you and I could have looked at this and like, you know what? We got to get Derwin James more in the box, get him more active, get him part of the defense. Can't have him back there. Let's put anybody back deep. You know, that talent discrepancy doesn't matter as much. Meaning, you don't have to be a star player to play deep safety, but you do need to be really good. It would really be helpful if you were good up in the box and making plays and impacting the game, the quarterback, the running back, tight ends, slot receivers, crossing patterns. You're right in there. Like, this is elementary stuff. Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, do the right thing, get him right where he needs to be. Love it. Next thing. Talked about why this game matters, and we've talked in previous videos that the Steelers play before the Chargers on Saturday. So if the Steelers win, they get the 5th seed, Chargers get the 6th seed. If the Steelers lose and the Chargers win, then the Chargers get the 5th seed and they would play the Texans versus the Ravens. Big difference. You absolutely want that right now, is the Texans are just really unsure of what they're doing. I don't know. Texans are weird. So this is really good news. And we talked about this the other day. This is really great news because you'll know what you need to do when you go to play. So it's perfect. So I think another thing, because the Lions just went through this when they played the 49ers, is this idea of like, well, rest everybody. This isn't college, right? There's not 90 guys on the roster. There's 53 active players. 5 of those guys are specialists. So you've really got a 2 deep, and you just can't take guys out. You know, it's not that easy, I guess, is what I'm saying. So expect the Chargers to play, is what I would say, no matter what. Because you're like, well, let's get Justin Herbert out there. Well, then you get your backup in there, and then he throws a ball to Ladd McConkey that he shouldn't, gets him injured. It's like, well, get Ladd out of there. It's like, well, okay, then now get your running back out of there. So there's so many things. Well, that running back misses an assignment, and the quarterback gets crushed. And, you know, there's a lot to consider when it's not that easy, I guess, is what I'm saying. Just to like, oh, let's get him out of here. So I say all that to say the Chargers are in great shape. Whoever they play, they're just a team you don't want to play right now. They've got guys coming back. Derwin James playing at a high level. Your quarterback, of course, at a high level. So this is all good if I'm a Chargers fan. I'm just thinking to myself, we're fine. We're totally fine. And I've just been, we've enjoyed talking about the Chargers because it's just good football. It's crazy how much bad football is out there this year, but not the Chargers are playing so good. So let me know your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Going for 10,000 subs. So you're just hitting that button. I think it sparkles when you hit it. Let me know. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.